Video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mithras. Mithras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.
Right,
They get like vandalism or something.
I am live now, so.
Oh.
You need to watch Something About Mary.
Something About Mary.
Yeah, it's a film. You need to watch that.
Oh yeah. That's what I was.
Is it a good film?
Oh,
It's a
brilliant.
funny film
Very
from
funny
the
film.
90s.
I
It's not
generally.
old.
Did you? Has anybody seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
Yeah.
Both of
Okay.
them.
Both of them.
Yes. I
Yeah,
saw
the
both
one
of them
from
too.
2000.
With
Oh
Jeremy
yes,
Irons.
yeah. Did you notice that when in the maze, the people trapped in the cage are all dressed like the D&D cartoon?
Yoni.
It was the Viking hat that gave it away to me.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I saw like a green cloak in the background. I was like,
I
Was
saw
it-
the Cavalier with his yellow breastplate and thought, this looks familiar.
Well, you know, at the start of that whole episode with the maze, you see them running in. As
Do
well.
you? Oh,
Yeah.
so to be,
You watch, but you do not observe.
I haven't seen it. I haven't
Oh.
seen the film at all, but I've seen so many clips on YouTube
You
that
feel like you.
I think I've
you
got
could
the
just
whole
watch it.
storyline now. I think I'm sorted because I saw the battle with the red robed wizard near the end, and somebody puts a bracelet on her. Is that a spoiler? Yeah. Anyway, I found out who that is now, from clips. I've just watched clips and that's it. So I think I can actually rent it now or buy it. So I might buy it if it's worth watching. And chat said it depends on your definition of good. What, Mr. Pickles, you are our film expert with your podcast.
Film critic.
well, I'm not a big fan of fantasy films, but I genuinely enjoyed the Dungeons and Dragons movie. It wasn't terribly serious, but it was a lot like having a group of players having a good time and trying to play their characters. It's a little bit campy and funny at points, but otherwise then it tries to be like a fantasy action movie. It's fun to watch. I liked it.
Unlike the very first film.
Yeah. Only
What was the first? I'm trying
It
to.
was-
Didn't that have one
it
of
was.
the Wyans brothers in it?
yeah,
As a
dude.
character
Yeah,
named
yeah.
Snail or something?
He was a thief, wasn't he? Rogue.
Well, it was a party of
Yeah.
thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but was it?
That one took itself.
Was it LeBeau? Sheila? No. Who's the main
I
character?
think
The
it
kid?
was him. I think it was just a generic looking dude as the main character.
I'm gonna
There's
see
something
that.
about dragons and stealing eggs, and we got to steal it back for the good of whatever. And they took it too seriously.
But then you had Jeremy Irons, who could pretty much do anything he wanted.
I don't think he talks
Sean
like
Connery.
that.
No, he doesn't.
I think he might have in that movie.
He certainly didn't go Master Wayne.
No, he doesn't do that. The boys do. I can't name Jeremy Irons. I can't think. It's very direct.
So what's this Mary movie that I need to watch?
Oh, Justin Marlin, who is the kid.
There's Something About Mary.
Something about
Bestseller.
Mary.
Cameron Diaz that are best.
It's not a rom-com, is it?
It's a little bit. But not
It is.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. It's romance comedy, 1998, 2 hours and 10 minutes long.
Oh,
But it's,
But it's the
really
same,
good.
same directors as Dumb and Dumber.
oh, right.
Right.
It's mostly
No,
comedy.
you killed it for him.
I did because I hate that film.
It genuinely is. If you like, do you like Airplane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't
It's-
call
it's-
me
it-
Shirley.
It's more. Don't call me Shirley. It's more like that compared to Dumb and Dumber, because Dumb and Dumber was just stupid.
Dumb and
and
Dumber.
stupider.
It's text
But-
all right.
Yeah, text your camera went a little bit.
I just looked across and it just looks like the Instagram sign crossed out.
I'll see what happened.
I just
Talk
looked
about
at
those apps. I went to find Twitter on my phone yesterday.
Oh, X.
Yeah, what the hell? I was like, "Where's Twitter? I can't
Yeah.
find Twitter." Oh, I have to read X.
Yeah, it's X now. It's Elon Musk changed it shortly after Threads came out to X. So now we don't know. Are they still called tweets? Are they called X's?
Well, the BX is because they've
I
gone
always
up
love
there
to hear
now.
from my exes. So yeah.
Yeah,
Shout out to my ex.
it's just sort of like, are they going to change it to? I mean, can it still be called Twitter if it's just like an X? And
It's X.
it's not.
It's X, formerly known as Twitter. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a tweet that was when Prince changed his name to a symbol, same energy.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Same energy.
When it happened, it was so funny because all the big companies jumped onto it. So Aldi or Aldi, which is a superstore here, said, we are now called Aldi X. And all the big companies were just putting X after their name. It was Twitter. Sorry, X was alive with it. It was hilarious. I loved it. So I actually know Shay, who is a streamer, changed his Twitter. It's normally Shaylay, and he's changed it to Xlay and put like a hacker picture on the profile. So
what's going to happen with Tesla?
Well, apparently
he tried doing it on Tesla and he got rejected by the share owners.
That's what I heard, Tex. I
But
actually
he's got
heard
SpaceX. He's
Yeah.
got SpaceX.
SpaceX,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, Tesla, he was not able to do it. He already tried.
Now, what's the other company that he owns? Tesla and
SpaceX.
I heard that.
I think there's another one that he tried it on.
Yeah.
I remember hearing.
And
I don't remember what it was called.
And he tried it. I read something that he had tried it twice before and had been kicked out. So it's
It is stupid.
Well, we are just talking about Twitter and restrooms.
Dungeons and Dragons movies.
I didn't mention restrooms. Okay. Let's make a start because we left it at a really exciting part last week, and I've got a bit of surprise for you all right near the beginning. Okay, so I've created something for you. I hope you like it.
Is it going to be like the zombie thingy?
You have to-
zombie Brock.
Now that I've said that, you're going to be so disappointed. If somebody else comes in Captain's room, can you tell me immediately so I can just stop the feed? Because I really
I think I'm doing in here.
I put nothing. Honestly,
I told her to leave hours ago. If she comes back, that's on her.
Right, I'm not going to say
Oh,
any.
Brad to leave too.
What about the one behind the curtain?
Oh, that would be spooky, wouldn't it? Okay, I'm going to mix things up today as well, so be prepared. The party are on the bridge of a ship that doesn't belong to them, and they've just had a sensor with a wonderful critical roll of 3 has picked up an incoming spaceship. They've done some nasty deeds on the ship that they are, or good deeds, or nasty deeds with just cause, or something along that line.
From
anyway,
a certain point of view.
Yeah. Before I tell you or give you a quick rundown of what's going to happen, I'm going to allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and who they're playing tonight. And we're going to start off with you, Medivac.
Really? Well, thank you. That you trickster you.
I saw you with your bottle to your mouth.
Hi, everybody. I'm Medivac, and I play James Minsk. He is the ship's captain, not the ship yet, but another ship. He is a kindly, friendly, lovable guy. He's willing to shake anybody's hand. He is the face of the group. He will negotiate. He will take contracts. He'll also fly you or drive you to wherever you want to go. A bit of a rogue in his past, grew up on a space station, but then moved down to a desert-style planet through his
Arid
planet. That's the word. Yes, through his teenage years, and then somehow ended up on another one in a crash. But anyway, his favourite weapons are his mouth and his little holdout blaster, which he just a flick of a finger on his right hand, and it flips into this. Very useful, especially last episode. He does have a soft spot for people in need. So in a previous adventure, he saved a young child, just to put perspective on what happened last week.
Justification.
He saved a child from some people who were trying to exploit her. A daughter of Black Star. Well, she was a Black Star, wasn't she? Classed as a Black Star.
She was called a warden. I think they're called. I think that's right. I'll check that. Yeah.
And then last week he found out that this lady they were helping's daughter had been kidnapped, and the person who kidnapped them had killed her. But that's enough of that. I'm going to pass on to Tiggity Tex.
Oh, changing it up.
Yeah.
I'm Tiggity Tex. I play Io, the ship's kind of dirty deeds person that fulfills their forgery and hacking. She is a liaison of those said Black Suns. Or Black Stars. That's right. Sons of the Black Star. I always mix it up.
Sons of the Black Star, yeah.
And then I will pass it off to Mr. Pickles.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I play Zach Newman, who is our team's muscle. He's very physical. He handles most of the problems the opposite way of Captain Minsk, which makes last session a little surprising, since Captain Minsk kind of started firing right there. No, I wasn't the one firing first, and my normal weapons.
It sounds like he's putting this right on you, Minsk.
I was very surprised, and I'm very I'm not very well armed, because normally I have a shotgun. I can make people's legs come off. I call it the bloody snail shotgun, because they're always crawling away, leaving a bloody trail. But I'm also good with a medium revolver and a baton. I do have my baton with me because I didn't know that we'd be taking on. I can also use medium blasters, and that isn't as helpful because all I have is a light blaster on me right now as well. But I at least can shoot, and I can hit things, and Newman's the physical guy. He can even hide things and sneak things with his sneaky hands. And with that, I'm going to throw the microphone over to Captain Kangaroo, who is not our team's captain.
Hi, everyone. I am not the team's captain, but my name is Captain Kangaroo for some reason. I am playing Arthur Hammond. He is arguably the most important member of this team. Definitely everything that should be done or has been done is because of him, obviously. But if you were look specifically right at him, you would find that he is the engineer of the group. He's the creative force of making random things to help us in our endeavors. But he's also kind of a old bag with drooping skin and brittle bones. But not everyone's perfect. So from here, I'm going to pass the microphone to our GM in Wills.
Thank you. Yeah, Hammond sounds very much like me. Droopy skin and brittle bones. They also have a robot with them that Hammond created called Purdy, who is Hammond's bane of his life. Conter, he's really regretting creating Purdy anyway. Purdy is not actually with them, with the party at the moment. Now, just before we crack on, I'd just like to, number one, thank you all for being here tonight, players and people on the stream. Remember that you can check out all our RPG content by heading over to Kofi .com/inwills, and there you can provide support for us by following and looking at the posts that we bring up, but also you can support with monetary value that helps us towards the goal of paying for Zoom. There's also more membership roles, stages or tiers that allow you to provide hero points for the players or their characters, so you can support your favorite character through death-defying acts. You can also have a sneaky peek at their character sheets, and if you have a World Anvil account, you can also gain access to the background information that the players all have, but also my past adventure notes as well. Also, please remember that you can support us on Twitch by subscribing, donating bits here, but please remember that the most important thing for us is that you're here hanging out with us in the chat, sharing the word, and interacting when anything comes up that takes your fancy. We really do appreciate and value your support, so huge thanks to you all. Just like to remind the players that we changed some rules from last week, if you remember. So take cover is now an opposed roll, the same as evade. But if you are in cover, then you can still, the cover protects all your body apart from your head and the arm you're firing with. So if you're left-handed, your left hand will be out if you're right-handed. However, remember that choose location. I GM'd it incorrectly last time. It's a critical hit, but it can only be used in the small range bracket. So that's up to the first number in meters of your range. So you should have 3 numbers. So it might say something 5-10-20. So you can only use choose location in that first range bracket. So in that case, it would be up to 5 meters. Telescopic sights are really mega important now because you can't attach them to your mini blaster before you ask, but any weapon that you do attach it to multiplies up that initial range bracket by the multiplication, the magnification of the telescopic sight. So if you put it on an assault rifle then and it was 12, then you would multiply up by 12, so it would be 144 at this starting point. Remember, if you're not within the distance to choose location, you fire, roll hit location as usual, and then if it hits anywhere apart from the head and body, it goes off the armor of the objects first. But if it hits your head or your arm, you know that you'll take damage. Of course, marksman is really mega important now, because remember, that allows you to shift your location. So if you actually aim for the chest and you got a chest, you could use marksman to click it up to the head, and everybody gets that it's both characters and mobs. So the players at the moment are on Matthew Brock's yacht, which is a starship. Just out of interesting, I'm watching War Games again after everybody kept mentioning Matthew Brock. 1983, I think it was. It's a fantastic film. I love it so much, especially when they look at this little computer and think, wow, that's amazing. And it looks like an Amiga 64 or something like that.
We don't have to play tic-tac-toe, do we?
Yeah. This is called thermonuclear war.
Yes. I like the fact that, it's got a password. Oh, I'm in.
Yeah, Joshua. It's just like, what? And isn't it funny? I was still thinking that Matthew Brockwick, is it? Broderick. Actually still looks like that, but of course he doesn't anymore. Does that make sense? He's sort of he's an old man now, but I keep thinking,
how dare you? How dare you? Tarnished name of Matthew Broderick. Our Ferris Bueller.
Ferris
Yeah.
Bueller, yep.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
That's a good one.
I've
Do
only
you have a TV?
I do. I've just come. I tell you what I like to watch. I've just come to the end of season 3 of The Witcher, which is it's really good, Medivac. It's really good. You'll love it.
I've just come past the staff
I've
fight
heard the
scene.
opposite. But
It's.
The fight scene with the staff was very good.
Did you watch it? It was excellent, wasn't it? I was so pleased being made. Zal says, no spoilers. Still haven't seen it. Zal, you've had this week off work. What you've been doing? Oh, you got a family. Sorry. that is an issue at times. Anyway, so the party, right back many sessions ago, was approached by a dying woman who handed them a data chip and said, please save her. Basically, that was Sue Parrish, and the party realized that there was an element involved called Corelite, and Corelite is the most expensive precious metal in the whole of the draft sector. So that's where you're living at the moment. So a sector is made up of 16 subsectors, and you're within one of those subsectors. And it's the most precious metal ever. And it appears that some was found on Sothis, where they are at the moment. But Sue Parrish, who located it, realized it was a radioactive isotope. And so as well as being precious, it was highly radioactive. And this was actually causing radioactive sickness onto Sue Parrish. The party managed to get her into hospital and decrypt the data chip, and then went out into a desert where there appeared to be some relic digging or some kind of archaeology happening. And at that point, they got attacked by a missile, a space-to-air missile or an air-to-space missile that Minsk very well drove their hover vehicle away from. And although some damage was took, he managed to angle it into the blast. Shortly after that, Newman was arrested and was approached by Matthew Brock, who was actually, seems to be a very influential millionaire who is involved with locating really good old relics and etc. He got Newman out of jail and took them up to a party on his yacht. At that point, he took the party. After Newman had been approached and by some ladies, including one who sat on his lap, and Medivac, Minsk, I think, got into a discussion with two people. Do you remember who it was?
Here on the ship, sorry. Yeah, it was Commander Johnson and Lady Smythe.
Yeah.
There
they were the people who owned the cabin at the top. There was somebody called Joyce. Do you remember Joyce?
Oh, yeah. I've got Bart and Joyce.
Yeah, so those were the first two people you met. And anyway, Matthew Brock invited the party to a table and basically said, you have something I want, and I've got something that you want in exchange, i.e. Sue Parrish's daughter, who was being held captive on the ship. At that point, Minsk, playing up to his true values of saying, hang on a minute, this is not right, flipped out his mini palm blaster and shot Matthew in the head. All hell broke out. And at that point, I would like to confess that I don't think I actually portrayed everything that was happening. The combat went really well. I thought that was all right. But I felt because it wasn't what I was expecting. And I was frantically thinking, where am I taking this? Where am I taking this? So in order to replicate the actual scenario, I've done a bit of story writing for you that I'm going to read to you. That is called From Different Perspectives. So what I've done is that I've recreated the scene I've missed out all your parts. It doesn't refer to anybody in particular or anything like that. Remember, the guards were there as well. But I wanted to portray the feeling within the yacht. And that's my surprise. It's not that exciting now. But anyway, I'm going to read it to you so you get a rough idea about what's actually going on. And you might realize there's some of the players or some of the characters' names that you know. So we start off with Joyce. Joyce couldn't believe her ears and now her eyes. They had only known Matthew Brock for a small period of time, and now they were getting invited to sit at his table. Joyce had followed Matthew for decades. She had started just following his writings and adventures, the way he had found lost artifacts and championed the ancient people. But then she moved on to see his glorious donations and support of numerous charities across the draft sector. Matthew was a crusader of many people, and Joyce liked that. Someone to admire, to follow, and to support with her own time and donations. She glanced over at the table, trying to hide her jealousy. Then it happened. The man stood up, produced a blaster from nowhere, and shot Matthew in the head. Joyce screamed. Assassination attempt, Jack's communicator screamed. He looked up from his work at the computer. Assassination attempt? Who? What? And more importantly, where? He had only one order tonight: protect the girl at all cost. His boss had been very specific. Only let his boss in, and if anything else happened, get her off the ship to the Defender. He tuned into his comms. There was definitely the sound of weapon firing and shouting, but there was also the sound of static. Was someone trying to hack their system? He had his orders: protect the girl. He drew his weapon and headed towards the office. Margot had been watching the hunk that had asked her about Matthew. His knee was so nice to sit on, and she was hopeful that he was going to be assigned the cabin next to hers. She was mainly there for the social gatherings. She had no interest in dusty relics or intellectual lectures or about lost peoples. Company, drink, good food, and fun. That's why she was there. Oh, and men, if the opportunity presented itself. And an opportunity had definitely given her a call. A scream shattered the social sounds. She looked up to see weapons being drawn and shots fired. People were running, stumbling, falling. Shots missed their targets and hit bystanders. Glasses shattered, tables fell and broke as people fell on them. She glanced over to see Sandra running towards them. A tray of glasses full of fresh drinks in her hand. In complete slow motion, she staggered and the tray fell. The glasses emptied their contents onto the floor before joining them with a shattering sound. She looked across the room and her eyes locked onto Margot. The guard came round the corner and shot, the laser beam missing its targets. Sandra stopped, her eyes fixed on Margot's, her mouth open in a silent plea. They both looked down to see the blossom of blood spreading across her chest. Saying nothing, Sandra fell, her shattered body joining the glasses on the floor. Come with me, Jack demanded to the girl. He had children himself, but was never any good with them. He left that to his wife and partner. The young girl started to cry and utter the usual repeating words that they had heard over and over again. I want my mummy, she sobbed. I'm taking you to her now, but we must get off the boat and leave this ship. She stopped as the news sank in. Jack grabbed her by the wrist and dragged her to the door. The deck was filled with noise. shots were being fired from two parties, Matthew's guards and group that had started, between Matthew's guards and the group that had started the attack. People were caught in the crossfire. Bodies lay on the ground. People were frantically stabbing at their communicators, trying to get help or possibly say their last goodbyes. Men and women protected each other, some on the ground and some crammed into corners of the room. Others had fled into their cabins and were looking out at the carnage as their doors slid closed in an effort to protect them. What had started as a social event of the social event of the trip was now a bloodbath. With the guards going down one by one, the party made their way to the elevators and left the deck. People cried. Others sobbed. Some cradled their injured or dying partners and friends. Many just stared around in utter disbelief. Instinctively, Jack brought the girl round in front of him, weapon to her head. He knew he needed to protect her, but that also meant that they were probably here for her. He slowly started to make his way to the exit, but the warning was clear. He was outmatched and not being paid enough for this work. For his safety, his chance to see his wife and children again, he relinquished the girl, and holding up his weapon, he moved to the door. He didn't think he would make it, but he did, and the exit slid open. He turned quickly, straight into the face of a barrel of a blaster. Surely, this was not what they had promised. It was the trigger was pulled, and Jack was engulfed by a white, blinding light. And that's the end. That's the end. So hopefully that gives you some indication of the turmoil.
You're evil.
What?
This is like humanizing stormtroopers, Bob and his children. Hey, honey, I'm just off to work on the Death Star. I was like,
well, I did say different. I'm not saying that was exactly what happened.
Jack and his 2 wives and 6 children. Yeah.
And the person that was looking to get a hot date with Newman.
Yeah. I can safely say, though, we didn't kill any innocents.
My shots hit.
My shots hit.
So
and also, I was wielding a baton, so... And I didn't want to shoot that guy. I thought we had an agreement with him. I thought we were...
So did Jack.
Obeying the law.
I didn't shoot him. I made the agreement I didn't shoot him. He went into a room out of my sight. And
everybody's looking at you, Hammond. Everybody's looking at you.
Yeah, Hammond.
Some people get confused. There's lots of stuff happening very fast. All of a sudden, just gonna shoot someone.
You don't get to play the old man card again.
Yeah, Hammond smells a little bit of toilet issues. Anyway, say again, sorry.
You sound surprised, like that hasn't been your go-to plan for like the last twice.
For distraction, but it's not like he's not just regularly like shitting himself.
Well, I actually think it's I think
it isn't the fact you've got a plan. It's I need to have a dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
so I'm going to do this right now.
He understands that people just don't want to deal with an old man who just has dripping diarrhea going down his leg.
I just think it's sort of like every time Hammond says, guys, I've got a plan.
I have a plan.
I just think it's going to involve Hammond soiling himself in
like does Hammond like to soil himself? Sure.
Well, the first time you said it in the hotel.
Sometimes you can't find a bathroom. And you're like, you know what? It'll be easier right now if I just shit myself instead of going all the way down the hallway and then, figuring out from there. Like, no, just sometimes it's easier just to let loose,
One day you're going to do it randomly and we're going to go, Hammond, you didn't tell us the plan.
Yeah. the
Oh
thing
shit!
that-
My bad. My bad.
Yeah. The thing that got
You have
me was the first time you told Io about the plan, you sort of like built it up to be this wonderful plan. And then when it came down, I think Io actually said, so you're just going to poo your pants. and that was it. The complex plan just came down to
Sometimes not all plans have to be super intricate. Sometimes it can just be a little shitty.
Yeah, well, we'll look out for plan number 3 when it comes. You know, Cyrus is a very small person, you know, and I think it's really nice that
What a big
Hammond's-
personality.
yeah. And now it's interesting that Hammond, you've created this master plan maker. I have a cunning plan.
I
Okay.
have a cunning plan, my lord.
Yeah. I just know that whenever Hammond says from now on, I've got a plan, everybody's just going to say no. It's not going to
There's
happen.
no way you have this many diapers.
Put your
So-
diapers back on.
Yeah. So we left it. I think this is where we left it. And correct me if I'm wrong. You are on the bridge of the yacht. I'm just moving on to your map. So you're in this position up here in number 1. That is the bridge. Once you had got there, I think Io, you wanted to start hacking into the computers. I think Minsk, you had said try to get as much as you possibly can from the computers to see
Yeah,
whether or not there was any evidence. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we also said delete all the security feed, which IO was doing. if not mistaken.
Okay, yeah. And
Wait. Yeah, no, we should probably delete all of it. Yeah.
Well,
just
so all
delete the
this-
one where we shoot them.
all this is going on. So we'll do some rolls for things in a second. But at that point, I think the last roll that we had, Io, was from you. And I asked you for a sensors roll. And I think you got, I think it was a critical 3. Yeah, so you had got 2 computer rolls and then a sensor roll that was a critical 3. And I'd said to you that there was a scout ship approaching the yacht. The yacht has no weapons as such on it. But this had a laser mounted on the top, the same as your own scout ship. And I think I also mentioned that I had a missile rack. Yeah? Silence.
I don't remember the missile rack part.
All right. So it does.
But-
I think you muted
Oh.
Tex.
Oh, you never said anything about what it had. You just said it was his second ship.
Okay.
I think there was an implication of weapons, but I don't remember the missile rack.
Yeah.
I remember you said something. If
Well,
you
you
shoot
said
in
it was.
front of
You said it was armed.
once, you
Yeah.
blow it all.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is armed. You've heard this term defender. I'd heard it before, and this idea that this ship has come round into. It's probably in firing range at the moment, although it's not firing. Darth has said defenders of the earth. Defenders. Anyway, so yeah, sensors are being picked up. Io, you're busy trying to clear all the security feed and et cetera, et cetera. You can hear, if anybody taps into the communications, you can hear that there's still turmoil on the deck below you. Who's got the girl?
I would have to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Minsk was like-
Minsk has the girl, and she's sort of like clinging to your arm or a leg or around your waist or whatever. And at this point, you have an incoming hail. Your ship is being hailed, and IO, you see this on the communication channel, and it's like goes beep, 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 almost like a phone call, and your ship's being hailed. And I assume you pass it on to everybody else. So let's start a little bit of role play from that point. So Io, you pick it up and you can announce that the ship is being hailed to captain. Off you go.
All right. We have a ship incoming, armed, and they are hailing us.
Okay, patch them through, but no video, just audio only.
I can do that.
Okay. So they seem to have video up. Okay. And what appears to come on the screen is you're quite familiar with the bridge of a scout ship because you're quite used to flying on it. So you can see that there seems to be somebody who's obviously the captain. And then there's somebody at the comms and at the sensors array, etc. Remember, the gunner is in a turret up at the top, so they're not necessarily on the bridge. This guy that comes on the video feed, he doesn't look like formal security or private security or anything like that, Minsk. He seems to be, if I say he looks more like a trader, does that make sense? Yeah. He's like a bit like Han Solo. He's got like a leather jerkin on. Yeah. He seems to have some kind of headset on, and he comes on straight away. And I don't know if you'll hear this, but you might not. The first thing he said is, "What the are you actually doing?"
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Very
good. Now, if you can link that to Cap's voice, that would be cool. I'm just going to reply. Drunken guest, things got out of hand. Don't worry about it. Everything's under control now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to beep there. That was
it's like a white noise.
I was a little bit premature at that point. Sorry. He sort of like
happens to the best of us.
He sort of like turns around to you, and he says, "We've been following and tracking Matthew Brock for months, and then you go out and blow up the whole mission. Who the are you?"
I'm sorry, but I think this is the wrong number.
What?
I'm sorry, more importantly, but who are you?
He says, "My name's seems rather obvious, but my name is Beck. And you are?"
Why would that be obvious? I don't understand. Who's Beck?
I'm just going to quickly flick through. I am of no particular concern. We are just here to recover a young girl who's been kidnapped and held against her will. But thank you for your assistance.
He says, "Before you go, you might want to know that the Defender is on a synchronized orbit on the opposite side of the planet. The alarm call has gone out. We tried to intercept it and scramble it, but we think some of it got through. We weren't expecting this mess up or this complete and utter up."
So
trust me, we weren't either.
What's the Defender armed with?
The Defender is, well, once it orbits, once you see it coming around the event horizon of the planet, you will certainly see what it is armed with. It is actually classified as a heavy fighter. It has laser weapons on it and several missile racks. Let's just say compared to us and you, it will win with no issue at all.
Right. Okay. Just out of character, would I know if this ship could land or not? It should be able to land on the surface, shouldn't it?
Your yacht.
It's yacht, yeah.
Yeah, your yacht doesn't. That's
Okay,
why.
We
right.
took a little boat up to
Yeah.
the yacht
Yeah,
because
no,
it
I
probably
was-
can't land on the planet.
I was
It's
more
here,
thinking
yeah.
about the I was more thinking about the all the other passengers. If there's one yacht to ferry us backwards and forwards.
You probably know that yachts like this are probably docked via a space station or an orbital station. So people probably come up to that and then are ferried up, or even from a starport straight up to the yacht.
Okay.
It'll be all part of the meet and greet, a bit like
Yeah.
tugs going out to an ocean liner or something like
Gotcha.
that.
Gotcha. Okay. That's thrown me a little bit. I thought they were actually the oh God, my brain.
The baddies.
Yeah, the Brockmobile. Right, okay. So Beck, suggestions?
He says he sort of like, he seems to look to one side, and you can see that there's some kind of communication going on between him and the person near the computer or the sensors. They seem to be exercising some kind of discussion, and he turns back and says, "How did you get there? Did you come in on the ship's boat?
Yes.
Have you got the girl?"
Yes.
Right. I suggest that you make your way either over to us via the ship's boat before the Defender circumvents the planet, or we dock with you.
The problem is there's a lot more innocent people on here.
Probably
Oh.
probably not the best place for you people to be then.
What, they're gonna blow up a ship full of people? I feel like having people that are innocent would be a good place to be.
Hmm. But saying that, seeing what this Brock's done before.
Oh yeah, he said that they didn't matter to him, so
Yeah.
I guess he would just have a
He would.
contingency to blow them up. He took their money already.
And he
certainly
could
not
then
much good these
just-
days.
Well, he can't do anything now because he's dead.
Or whatever his contingency plan
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
they might blame it onto somebody, or they might actually board the yacht.
Right, Beck, do you have space for these people? If we dock with you, so if we come to each other and dock, can we transfer everybody onto your ship?
He turns around and says, "Everyone?
Everyone.
How many are you suggesting? What is your complement of your crew?"
Io? 3. Brilliant.
Have I hacked into the system yet to know how many people are in the cabins?
Well, there's roughly
We have the schematic, so we can count. through
yeah.
the
So there's
schematic.
roughly 2 in each area on average. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So about 26 to 30 plus guards. Oh no, the guards are all dead, aren't they?
Yeah.
And to be fair, mostly guests are as well by your
Yeah.
description.
Yeah.
So,
He says we're not big enough to take on the whole complement of a yacht. How many of the crew are still alive?
Roughly
half
one.
of one.
So like he says, "Holy!" He said, "Did you wipe out the whole complement of the yacht?
Just the ones that were trying to kill us.
Yeah, sure, the ones with weapons. Yes.
We thought you were going to a party."
Welcome to the party, guys. So, no.
Talk
Welcome to the
about
party,
a
man.
whole load of little heads. He says, "What are we doing? Are we docking or are you coming across?"
I would imagine it'd be better if we dock door was come.
Is there a space station here?
No, there's a starport on the planet on Sothis, which is where
Where we
your
parked our ship.
yeah.
Right, I'll tell
Parked,
you what we'll
yeah.
do. Yeah, parked.
It's on a meter somewhere.
But not in the white zone because that's for loading and loading only. Right. Let me run this by you guys. How about, and ladies, sorry. How about if
and little girl.
No, Io's a lady.
Yeah, I said and little girl.
And little girl. Sorry.
Yeah.
She'll have no input. How about we go on the boat, we do an SOS to the starport below for immediate extraction of everybody else, set off an alarm here so everybody goes to the exit point, the the docking bay, and then we go and meet the other ship while they rescue these people. That's half a rumble. So send out an SOS down to the starport.
He says, the communication says, he says, whatever you're going to do it fast.
Right, yep. Tell everybody on the ship, send out a wide a message saying to assemble at the docking port. Send an SOS to the starport from send of a ship to rescue these people.
Okay. So that could be sent via the sensors communication array. Io, is a plan to do a verbal one or just a text one? What's the plan there?
A verbal one to the space station, or to the ground units, or to the whole ship?
I think there's going to be an
Yeah.
SOS sent to the starport.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were talking about like telling everybody like that to move towards the.
Yeah, so we'll do starport first. Is that just going to be like an SOS, like a standard beacon? Okay, then.
Just a ping, yeah.
Yeah, and then I assume that you're going to be announcing to the rest of the crew. So yeah, what are you going to be saying to them?
She'll say, everyone, it's all clear. The firefight is over. I believe one of the guards may have shot a guest. But we have secured the boat, and there is no need to panic.
Okay.
We have help coming. Stay tuned.
I like that.
The killers.
I like that. Stay tuned next week. What's it? Is it Looney Tunes?
Fiery death.
Stay tuned. Excellent. Okay, then. I presume you're getting people into the ship's boat. Yeah. Is that you are all getting in the ship's boat,
Indeed.
and then you're piloting it across to the other scout ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As quick as possible.
Okay, then. So the girl will have to cram in there on somebody's lap, but you activate the automatic release signal sequence for the ship's boat, and that opens the doors so you can exit, and you head over to the scout ship. Do you have the link for the Sothis system?
I have some.
Sothis, yes. Oh no,
Yeah.
that should have got the details of it.
Okay, so can you access? I'll pop it in Discord. That one, yeah. Can you see that?
Multi-pass.
Does that access it for you?
Give me a second. Let me just do it again. Oh, multi-pass again. Why is it doing that? Access denied.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my multi.
like everybody, you'd think it's a joke that we're saying multi-pass, but for real, it gives us the multi-pass from
Multipass. Yeah.
What does it give
from
you, Si?
Fifth Element. Multipass.
I don't.
Giga bada boom.
Fifth Element, is that with
Fifth
don't
Element. Yeah.
is that I know this one. It's with the guy from the Die Hard movies.
Yeah.
Yes, Alan Rickman.
Yeah, it's with the balding guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. and there's like a girl that has weird powers.
Campbell.
The ability to.
Yes.
Right, hang on.
Same one from Resident Evil.
She's the fifth
Right,
element.
I've added you to that now, so you might have to log in, but you can see it.
Thank you.
Can you see it now?
But yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
that's on the handouts. If it's just that.
Yeah, and on there should be like a map. Do you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's not a map, but
On the right-hand side.
On the
Yeah,
right
that's a
hand
picture.
side. Yeah.
that's just a key, isn't it?
So you should be able to see the star system. I'm going to
There's Sothis 1, 2, 3.
yeah,
Right.
that's
If you-
precisely yeah.
If you go to where you get your character from, the journal bit, there's a Sothis bit, just star system. It's just there. If you click on that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly the same. Brilliant.
I thought it was going to actually be a star system.
No,
A sun
so
in the middle, planet, yeah.
no, as in an orbital map or anything. I'm not.
Yes.
I don't have that much time on my hands.
Oh.
So just to just a brief point about the systems, just because it makes life easier for me. Okay, each system has a name. So this is the star system of Sothis that is within the Sothis sector that you're actually in at the moment. Each of the planets in a star system is actually labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending. So on this one, you can see that Sothis 1 is the terrestrial world, and then there's 2 other planets further out, and they're just called Sothis 2 and Sothis 3. So beforehand, your star system was Levito, and so there would be Levito 1, Levito 2. So rather than making up separate names for each of the planets, that must have been a nightmare for anybody doing it in real life. They're naturally called 1, 2, 3. So you're currently orbiting Sothis 1. That's the one with the thin reducing atmosphere on it. And you arrive on the scout ship. Okay. And as you arrive on the scout ship, there seems to be these people that you meet, they seem to be armed. They're almost like, if you think Firefly sort of like look, they're very much like that. They seem to have pistols, like blasters slung on belts and things like that. They don't seem to be wearing any heavy armor or anything like that. Once you enter and you go through the airlock, I'm going to put you onto your scout ship, okay, just so you can see the sort of like the general layout. So as soon as you come into this part with the ship's boat and etc., you notice that several people come out. There seems to be somebody that is obviously some kind of medic. They or doctor. They coming out and start to scan the daughter and sort of like start to sort of like check them out, and she sort of like says, "I want to see my mommy," and they look at you, Minsk, and it's a female doctor, and she turns around to you and says, "We'll take her from here." And
Where are you taking her? Who are you?
she says, "We're taking her to medical. You can come if you wish."
I'll follow, but then I'll come back.
Okay, so
I just don't know where she's going.
yeah, she takes her down the corridor, and on this boat, on this room here, if you can see, it seems to be a medic bay, and there seems to be a whole load of medic, not surgery or anything like that, but a lot of what obviously is some kind of medical station with a lot of instruments, etc., in there, and they seem to sort of like put her down and start to perform scans on her. As you sort of like go and check out that, the rest of you, they sort of like say, follow. There's two guys. Both of them seems to be rather laid back. They don't seem to be very corporate or business-like at all. They seem to be more like I said before, traders or belters, or some people that obviously make their living from doing something. They seem to look very practical. Their clothes are well worn, but still relatively new, but they're really serviceable clothes. And they sort of like take you through this. And as you come out, Mince, you can follow them up, and they take you up to this room, which is the captain's ready room, or the captain's room. As you come through the door beforehand here, the captain, who you've seen before, he's the same person that was communicating with you. They sort of like bring you in, and one of the guys says, we've got them, Captain, they're here. And he sort of like gets up out of his chair and says, to my office. And he turns around and he says, and the girl? With medical, sir. Good. Give me an update once they've done their initial scans. You lot, my room. And he takes you in to this room. He gets sat down on that chair, which seems to be his chair, and he turns around to you all and he says,
I'll make sure to whisper to Minsk to not give this guy a handshake, maybe.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. So like, shoot him. Yeah. That's good.
Few ships.
Yeah, this is the new code. Give him a handshake.
Maybe this time. It's not yet. Don't give him a hand.
He sort of like, this guy sort of like, Burke sort of like says, he says, sit down. And there's only one chair, so anybody can sit down that they want. And he says, okay, let's start from the beginning. Who the are you?
You're potty mouth tonight, aren't you?
Well, I was really worried about saying that B word last week. So I was trying to think, how can I create this character without having to actually swear? So
it works.
I'm just mouthing, but I'm not actually.
Oh, you're not even saying it. Oh,
I'm not even saying it. I'm literally going. I'm not saying it.
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I thought I did really well there. The chat actually said, "Can you bleep some more?"
You should start doing it when you're playing multi or PvP and ESO.
Yeah, I
getting
can.
upset at somebody.
I can actually do. There's one word I can never say, and I can't even mouth it because it's an. And please do not say it. It's the.
Is it see you next Tuesday?
Spell it out, maybe.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday. That is just an awful word. I just can't say that at all.
It's the same as see you next Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Americans hate it, but
I
know it's a little more common elsewhere. Especially in Australia.
In spoilers chat.
Massive in Australia.
If I'm in spoilers chat and they use the word, they actually say sorry in Wills. I just hate it. It's just awful. And it sounds awful when people say it. Do you know what I mean? It just.
It always comes off bitter.
Yeah. Anyway, so I won't be saying that. But anyway, he's asked you. He said, "Who the are you?"
We were hired by the girl's mother to find her, and then we found out that Brock had killed the mother.
There's a better question. Who the beep?
Oh, hang on.
Who the?
He turns around to Hammond and says, "Do you need to go to the bathroom, or are you fine at the moment?" Are you laid on your bed now, Captain?
This is AC right here.
All I can see is this big white fluffy pillow. He's like,
Hey,
That is Captain Kangaroo.
so
He's my fluffy pillow.
so hang on, remind me, Minsk, what did you say, Si?
Sorry, I said we were hired by the girl's mother to find her.
Yeah,
we
and then
found out
Hammond
that
said,
Brock had killed her.
Who the fuck are you?
yeah, and he sort of, sorry. Do you want to? I won't beep you out, but he sort of like says, first things first. I need to know why you're on one of our cases.
Hammond, get off his case.
I knew somebody was going to say that. Sure as I
It was
said
like,
cases.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was on top of
I
something.
actually thought in Wills, should you clarify it? And I just wasn't quick enough. Why?
We have no idea what case you have, what you are on, even to be quite frank, who you are. Thank you for the assistance, but we are doing our own thing, and our own thing is good.
He sort of like says, yeah.
That man has tried to kill us. He's tried to blow us up with missiles. He's killed that girl's mother. He kidnapped her. All for coin, all for a bit of profit.
And Beck says, yeah, we know. We've been following him throughout the sector, but we've not managed to actually pin anything on him with hard evidence. We did have a hack into the computer system, but that seems to have been removed.
Which looks like my captain here was able to pin a bullet in the man's head. So I feel like
Allegedly.
You actually shot him?
I will neither confirm or deny that.
Let's just say he may have failed to a bullet.
Who are you working for?
At that point, just as you asked that question, a little sort of like beeper goes off on his desk, and he sort of like presses it and says, yes. And you hear a woman's voice, probably a woman from the bridge, saying, Captain, we are approaching Sothis 2. We'll make standard orbit around the other side. Just to let you know, the Defender approached the yacht. It appears to be sending over numerous small ship boats to make some kind of docking. We've scanned them for life size. They seem to be full of about 6 to 8 people in each. Oh, and also the starport is sending up emergency vehicles. And he just says, thanks, keep me informed, and clicks it off. He says, right, where were we? Oh, yes.
We were.
You shot him.
You were telling us, no, you were telling us who you were, or who you're working for.
And he says, so let's get this right. You shot someone on a ship, which we then rescued you from and got you here with the girl, and you are demanding to know who we are.
That was about right.
Do you know, I'm glad that all us captains are so intelligent and astute and amazing, really. Your insight is fantastic. Thank you. So yes, please, who are you and who you
Okay, so Minsk, you're the main talker here. You now have a social conflict decision to decide on before you make your role, since you are the spokesperson. So basically, you have two choices. You can either go antagonistic to it, i.e. demanding that Bex talks first, demanding that Bex says, who they are, etc. Or you can go the other way and almost like talk captain to captain and try to work your way through the situation.
To be fair, captain to captain is how Minsk would do it.
Okay, then. So
he wouldn't be shaking hands. I mean, the fact that this guy's asking us for all the information isn't sitting well with Minsk anyway. But he wants to try to take this as we are both captains, which is why I said, you're a captain, I'm a captain, so that goes to show we're both intelligent people.
Right. So moving it away from the antagonistic approach to more of a talking captain to captain sort of discussion. Okay, then. So he's going to give you a whole load of information. But the first thing so rather than talking our way through it, what I would like to do is decide what information we're going to share between us, okay? And that's going to be done via our influence roles, okay? So if you make for me an influence role, can you see my role?
You got a 7.
Yeah.
You're just rubbing that in now, aren't you?
I
got a 9.
So you actually beat my critical 7 with a critical 9. Okay, then.
Who's the best captain?
Okay, so we're going to exchange 3 pieces of information. Okay, and they need to be quite broad, but because you have won the role, he is going to give you 3 pieces of information first. Okay, rather than if you had lost the role, you would have to give your 3 pieces of information. So it's almost like you've got the upper hand now because you can decide what information he gives
his
back.
Is juicy enough to more
and it's up to you. This is probably done in a sort of like a situation when everybody else is either sent out the room or it's communicated later to them, because we're talking captain to captain. Okay, then. So here's 3 pieces of information. Okay, number 1, he works for a project. He calls it Project Nemesis. He says it's a group of people across the draft sector, and their 2 mission. The words of their mission statement appears to be or are exploration and justice. Okay, so that's the first piece of information that you got, that they work for Project Nemesis, and mission statement is exploration and justice. The second piece of information that you get from them is that they have a habit of possibly working underneath the law or outside the realm of the law. And this matches to what's been happening with Matthew Brock. They tend to focus on justice for those people who maybe are not initially able to get it. Okay, so people on the corporations on the planet or the law enforcement might not give them justice, might be easier to sort of like glance over it, or avoid actual complication or lawsuits, etc. There's a lot of paying off involved. And so that's the second thing. The third thing that they give you is specifically to what's actually gone on. So they've been following Matthew Brock. This group on this scout ship is part of a group within Project Nemesis. Hopefully that makes sense. So this starship, this crew is not Project Nemesis itself. It's a bigger circle. So in just like you would have brotherhoods and orders or cults in Mithras, in M space you have circles. Okay, so imagine Project Nemesis is a circle. So the other bit of information that it gives you, which is number 3, is that they've been following Matthew Brock across the sector. He is known to have some undesirable dealings, but nobody has been able to pin anything on him due to lack of evidence. And so what they were hoping to do on this mission was to actually gain, they were not necessarily focused on Sue Parish as you were, and they don't mention Sue Parish at all. They seem to be more focused on Matthew Brock and bringing him to justice. Does that all make sense to you, Minsk?
It does.
Okay, so now it's 3 pieces of information that you are going to give him about you or your crew or your mission or whatever. Off you go.
Okay. Number
Tell him
one.
about my shotgun. Tell him about my shotgun.
My eyes are blue. Number 2. No, I'm about this tall.
Go for it. What would you like to tell him?
Yeah. To be quite honest, Captain, that's good to know. We're a group of likewise people who have ended up helping people as best we can. Now, we were hired by the girl's mother, Sue Parish. Do you know that name?
He sort of like says, we have records. He sort of like at that point, sure as you mentioned Sue Parish, he sort of like types on something, and you can see his computer on his desk brings up almost like the internet profile of Sue Parish. You also do notice, by the way, on there is the photograph that you have. I think, Minsky, you've got that image of Sue with her
with the daughter.
Yeah, that's it.
She collapsed in front of us at the starport and asked us to save her daughter. So we immediately called for medical assistance. She was suffering from radiation poisoning. So we then put her into the hospital, praying that she'd be safe, and went to retrace her steps. Now, where Brock comes into this is he tried to put a missile on our heads. We went to their parish.
Allegedly.
No, we know it's not allegedly.
You have no proof that
we do. We do. Yeah, it said Brock on the side of the missile.
Mr. Brock.
Yeah, and his wife Lily. Brock and Lily. I go. So yeah.
I just saw, I just saw, glanced at the cameras and saw Mr. Pickles stroking a cat. I thought it reminded me of that villain out of James Bond.
Welcome, Mr. Brock.
Yes.
So that's part 1. Number 2, we found she gave us some information. I'm not going to mention the memory stick at the moment.
Okay.
We retraced her steps back to where she gained this radiation poisoning and found an abandoned camp there. And she said she was working for Matthew Brock.
Yeah.
At which point a missile came down from the sky. Now, my friend over there, Io, was able to retrace the missile's trajectory and where it came from. And lo and behold, it came from Matthew Brock's ship.
The Defender.
The Defender. Yes.
Okay.
That's 2. Number 3.
So I'm making notes just so I can go back to it. I'm up to number 4 already, but
no. We'll stick that. Sorry. We'll stick at that.
So what I've got is a piece of information is that you're very similar to them, and you help people the best that you can. And you were hired, or Sue Parish, you were involved via Sue Parish, who asked you to support her or find her daughter. You also said that Sue Parish was suffering from radiation sickness. You didn't mention anything about Corelite, so I'm assuming you didn't want that. You then talked about going out to abandoned site where Brock tried to kill you virtually by firing a missile down onto you from within the atmosphere or out in orbit. Yeah. Happy with all those?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
then. Once you sort of like had this discussion, there's another ping, and the communicator, the science officer or second in command, announces that you're now in geostationary orbit around Soft 2, which is basically a rocky planet. Does anybody have navigation?
Actually, I might. Hold on.
I have a little bit.
You can roll your navigation skills.
All of us.
Yeah. Anybody else got it? And then we'll pause for our break and go to leave you
Ron
with
the character. I don't have navigation.
I thought somebody else had navigation.
might be Purdy. No, she has astro navigation.
Okay, in which case, I'll tell you what, I'm going to look that and reverse it.
Um,
Hang on, 4165. No,
you can reverse it if you want. I don't think it'll help at all.
no, I'd tell you what, I'm not going to. I'll just keep it at that 2 successes.
Okay, then.
Banner navigation.
So you're not too sure what that actually means, but you know that you're probably in a safe position at the present moment in time. At this point, while we go for our break, and Beck tells you to go and head off into one of the staterooms to talk to your crew and to sort of like decide about a suitable way forward. He does give you an option. He is prepared to keep you on the ship as long as they can, to maybe allow you to go back. But there is the open question, and there's no necessity for this at all, is whether or not you join the circle of Project Nemesis. Okay. And at that point, we're going to go for our break. We'll be back. I think we're 4 minutes late. So let's come back at 10 to the hour rather than quarter to. So we're going to have it. That first part of that session went so quick. That's why I missed the time. I do apologize. So we'll come back at 10 to the hour. Okay. And then we can listen to the party deciding what they might do. Okay. Head off, get yourself a break, etc. And we'll see you back here real soon.
Video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism.
And turn that on, and we should be ready to go, people. Can somebody just talk to make sure I've got the... That's it. Okay. So I'm going to allow you to... Well, I think what would be really good in a second is to hear about your crew and what the vote is. But before you go any further, I just want to give you a quick rundown about what circles are, what are the benefits from it, what are the possible disadvantages from them, etc., etc. So if you think about a circle as in a brotherhood, an order, it has things like ranks, it has mission statements, what that circle is all about. It also has resources, the amount of resources it has to its name, and it also has a sphere of influence. So how much influence does it have within its area? Talking about the area, each circle has almost like an area of influence. So Project Nemesis is throughout the draft sector. Something like core, the corporation core, is probably several sectors wide, and will have core, even though it's called a corporation, is probably a circle as well. The several advantages for the joining a circle. Number one, it can be a route for jobs and for things to do. Just to let you know, Project Nemesis does not work on the basis of here is a job, go and do it for free. Okay, what happens is that the jobs come in and you discuss. Minsk, you would still negotiate for price for them and then go off. So it's almost like you're free agents within Project Nemesis. Obviously, if there's something that they really need to do, then they might hire people in. Each one of you would be like a small team, and so Project Nemesis would have a range of teams. So the scout ship that you're on at the moment is Beck's team, and he doesn't own Project Nemesis, he works for Project Nemesis. The other thing is you're not bound totally to one circle or anything like that. So for example, one adventure could be Project Nemesis has got in touch with you, they need you to do this. It could be the next adventure could be you spent some time on the social media channels and there is somebody advertising for a job to be done, and you just meet them like a Fence or a Johnson and things like that. So it doesn't mean that you're limited to the circle. They do have resources. So for example, as you gain ranks within the circle, as you build up your rep, you will gain access to more and more items. So, for example, you might be operating at a tech level, say, of 8, and they might be able to give you weapons or communications or something a higher tech level than what you're working at. The only other way to get that, which is absolutely fine, is either to go to a higher tech world or to actually go black market and try to find it there. And then there's the availability to consider, etc., etc. You can leave a circle at any time. So say, for example, they put you on a job and that job turns south and it doesn't go very well, then you can actually cut ties with a circle and say, we're no longer part of your circle. You know, it could be a circle leads you off into a different mission or starts to do things that you're not happy about. You can actually be members of a variety of circles. But the important thing about that is that you can't have, it would be beneficial to be members of circles that have conflicting mission statements. So say, for example, Project Nemesis is all about exploration and justice. You couldn't be a member of a circle that is all about operating by stealing and things like that, because they would oppose each other via the area of justice. It does not dictate what your skills are. Okay, so most circles are quite open about that, and they consider that there are different ways to achieve different things. So, for example, IO, they wouldn't turn around to say to you, oh, you can no longer be a hacker because we're in charge of all about justice. The circle is any circle. Well, the majority of circles are very open in the sense, we've got this job to do. Please do not try to kill too many people or cause an issue. And circles can also help you out and, allow you to, they might break you out of jail or give you lawyers, or they might free your ship or something like that. Just to let you know, this Project Nemesis is sort of like the first circle you come across. If you all decide to join Project Nemesis, then we'll do some adventures related to them. If you think, no, Project Nemesis is not for us, then we'll do some more adventures and then another circle will come along and you could decide. Sons of Black Star is essentially a circle, but you can't join that one because of their religious beliefs, etc. They're more of a religious order that attunes to certain principles and theological beliefs, and that from past adventures that they believe that the world is going to end, and the ward that they're looking for will be the person who says that. And you know that they go around in groups of 4 called seekers, and then that's it. Okay, so I think what will be a really good opportunity now, feel free to ask me any questions about Project Nemesis, but you are in a stateroom. Minsk has relayed everything back to you. So it's a bit of a time that you can talk about it and decide whether or not this is going to be something that you want to join or don't want to join. Please do not think that the next adventure means that you have to join it. That is not the case at all. It's just you've encountered them at this moment rather than further on. So, yeah. So who would like to go first? Yeah, go for it.
My main question to you about
Me,
about Nemesis is the exploration and justice. When you say justice, is it arrest the person, take them to the police once you've got enough identification?
Really,
information. Sorry.
Yeah, really good question. And they don't actually. They work on these people that the law can't touch. So obviously they're not an executioner squad. What they would.
That was what I was going to say. Justice.
Yeah, I think what how Beck talks to you is that they try to collect data to actually prove the case rather than just killing people. I don't know if anybody remembers the A-Team, but also things like that. You know, so there might be a group of people on a planet that is getting hammered by a corporation or something, or getting kicked out of their homes. So Project Nemesis would be a group that they're not getting paid by that group of people, but they see it as a injustice, and they might do something about it. Like they won't kill all the corporation, but they might try to grab some information to sour them, or put explosive in a power plant that means that they can't do things, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, we are the A-Team because I'm Face. You've got BA over there who's Mr.
Hammond.
Pickles.
No, sorry.
No.
Howling Mad Murdoch.
No. Well, yeah. Chance, I've lost it now. I could be Murdoch, but no. You've got Hannibal there, who's.
I love it when a place comes together.
He can go to a garage and build anything.
Yeah. Who's MacGyver? That was another good program. I love MacGyver.
He could take out the world with a laggy band.
Yeah, I think I'd make up stuff.
I'm interested. I haven't heard Mr. Pickles talk at all this adventure, hardly. He's been very.
He never does on this.
No, so I think Mr. Pickles, it might be a good place to start with you. What's your thoughts about Project Nemesis?
I'll relay everything I've been told and what I've said to their captain,
to Beck,
to Beck, and about his invitation to join Nemesis. And just, guys, I'm not going to make a decision for all of us, so please, I need your input.
Well, I think perhaps all of us except for Io can probably empathize with the fact that we've been running on scraps and duct tape and not a whole lot of resources.
I was just run out of duct tape, actually.
Sorry, I thought Hammond was just saying I need to go to the bathroom or something.
Hold that thought.
I was just about to say, hold that.
Where do you think he's put the duct tape?
Oh, please. That's Nemesis, by the way, if you weren't familiar with the Greek god of Nemesis, goddess. She was the goddess of retribution.
Oh.
Hence, Project Nemesis.
I think our issue here is that we all were fed up with our own circles, if you will, of where we were. I got fed up with my law enforcement, the corruption I saw around me. You all had your issues with companies, and that's why we went off on our own. And I don't know. I think the freedom may have gotten to some of us because we blew up the first ship we own. Just as an FYI, IO.
Well, don't entirely know.
And then we were living in
well,
metal containers in the desert for
Yeah.
months.
How do you know we blew up our first ship? I have no memory of what happened.
I had some flashbacks at the end of that adventure arc when I was in the turret. I thought we all did.
Did we?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't know exactly how. Yeah.
Well, I think
if we did,
learned a lot.
If we did, it was for a good reason.
Yeah, but that's not what my memory said. But my point being, I think it might be beneficial to us to have maybe not a corporation that we're reporting to, but a group of people that can help guide us in a direction where we aren't getting into situations where we're in abandoned mine shafts and trusting people to leave and then they trash our car. I think we need to have some backup with resources that will make it so perhaps your drones, Hammond, aren't just put together with duct tape.
It'll be nice to have a little bit of resources. I can admit to that.
Yeah.
Also have some more plans to make bigger thoughts.
And I'm sure there's something that you would that having more resources could benefit you on our team.
Honestly, I work through computers, so I can't really think of anything. But I'm also really new to this. I'm used to just being on Solus, so I kind of am leaning more on you guys for this because, I mean, I've been a part of the Sons of Black Star as long as I can remember. So, spacefaring, I don't know anything about. I don't know about the resources or anything like that. Aside what I've heard from other people and seen on the screens passing by, and that's about it.
Well, for what it's worth, my opinion, we've literally been doing what these people are doing now ourselves, but near as damn it for free. You know, Sue Parish didn't pay us. We just took that on our back. All right, we took some credits off that data stick. But it'd be nice to keep doing what we're doing as a group, as friends, and maybe get a bit of coin out of it too. Maybe a little bit of tech to help you out. Maybe a little bit of, as you say, resources. If in the future we decide to go our separate ways from Nemesis, then that's no big bad, but it would be nice to have a little bit of guidance instead of just floundering from.
I'd like to imagine maybe we're just contractors of Nemesis, not necessarily the members.
No, that's essentially what we would be initially, wouldn't we?
Hopefully. Contractors
rather than, employees.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. I've just noted that down. I think it's not as if you are employees. It's almost like if they've got a job, they'll probably put it out across for tender, so to speak, and then people actually negotiate it with it. And I think it's down to that point of, if you think you've got the correct skills or you can actually achieve a job, then you do it. Now, from my point of view, I would not give you a job that you couldn't do, if that makes sense. If you have to have a high golf skill to do a job, I'm not going to give you that job because it's virtually setting you up to fail on it.
So golf.
Yeah.
Golf. You say, I've got golf.
Yeah. I'm gonna buy the golf skill with a professional golf skill.
The other thing that I was thinking in my head that might be an idea as well is give you a job that you can't do and look at the skills. So you can decide. So that might aid your character development. Does that make sense? So, for example, it might say something, this is a complete water world. You will have to go, this project requires you to go to dive underwater to a great depth, or to complete combat in zero gravity or something like that. And then you might see that and think, oh yeah, I mean, a shotgun in zero gravity would be so fun, I think, because the recoil would just shoot you back. But I think it might be a nice way to see how your characters can progress. I put in the chat there to remember that there is something known as G-Tech, and G-Tech seems to be implants. They almost like appear to be mythical at the moment, but they're sort of like it could be out there. And then these G-Tech, Q-Tech, sorry, allow you to do things. So, for example, you can use some G-Tech that is called Let's Make a Deal. And that Q-Tech, your next commerce you make is 2 levels easier for your role, because you almost like got that enhancement. It's a bit like cyberware. That's how I see it, but a little bit less invasive. Plus, of course, you will know that there's things like prosthetics.
Prosthetic.
And cyber limbs and things like that available on high-tech worlds as well. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to contribute?
I think that let's take this as a vote. If you want to, if you think we should join the circle,
do I get a vote?
Yes.
It's Purdy.
Purdy can email her vote.
Snail mail. Just raise your hand if you think if you'd like to join the circle.
Oh, whatever.
Okay. Is that the majority?
Yeah.
That's everybody. I
Yeah.
think IO did a half-hearted. What the hell?
I could just hear Hammond saying what. Yes, let's. So I don't know whether or not Hammond's for it or not. Are you going to begrudgingly so you can complain about it later, Hammond? Is that the?
That's usually how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. So that's absolutely fine. We can set that up. Just to let you know, they will help you bring Purdy on board. Let me get to the end of what I'm saying. If you want Purdy to come with you, okay, so this would be an opportunity to say, no, we no longer want Purdy as part of the team, or yes, we do want her to be still part of the team. So what's your opinions about that?
Well, 2 things. 1, Purdy is the team. 2, why are we bringing Purdy here and not going back to our ship?
Right. Okay, then. So
here we go. Go on.
Yeah. So that's my next bit. So your ship actually belongs to the son of Black Stars, if you remember. Okay, so technically it's their property that you were loaning to do their work from. The scout ship is almost like standard craft for Project Nemesis. So it's really and truly, it's the smallest craft that you can get, that is quite reliable, etc., etc. So the next question...
So they go to furnishers with another ship?
Well, yeah. So the next question is, if you want Purdy, that's fine. The next question is, do you want to still have the Son of Black Star ship? Or is it about time now that you sort of like say, right, we'll give that one back and leave that part of the story arc and move on to the ship that is provided for you by Project Nemesis. So rather than thinking about ships, think more about circles. You know, are you still wanting Sons of Black Star to get in touch with you and say, normally through you, IO, and say, we would like you to do this, and by the way, we've given you a ship for it, you know, so don't expect a huge amount of cash for it? Or do you want to think, okay, then now's a good time to separate it out, or say, look, you can have your ship back. We're still willing to work for you if you got suitable jobs, but we got our own ship now. Which way round do you like to play it?
I mean, I like the second option there. I mean, I hear justice, and I think that's the law. And I also think we could like go into a room and they're like, oh, is it justice? And we're like, no, it's just us.
Oh,
No, it's
nice
just
one. I
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
all I can.
Just us.
And then I have a shotgun, so that's not really good news. But yeah, no, I like the idea of working with these guys more, and that we could leave the door open if the Sons of Black Star really need us.
How does IO feel about this?
Yeah.
How do you
point.
feel, IO? Because this is your family in a sense.
They're a bunch of religious nuts. Okay.
So somebody put IO in the box.
Have you heard about our friend?
Was that the Sons of Black Star?
They oppose technology, so you're never gonna get anywhere with them. You know, like if you decide to sign up and be a monk, they'll be all for it, but you're never gonna get paid for anything. The jobs are probably going to be search and rescue, or picking up a new ward for them. I think that your talents and your focus are more aligned with these people than the Sons of Black Star.
We're only with the Black Star.
That's fine, but I thought you were part of Black Star. You're not. You're just a liaison, are you? Between.
I'm just a liaison. Honestly, I think that they're happy getting rid of me. So
okay, no, that's good. I was more worried about you, IO, to be quite honest, because I assumed and completely incorrectly from what you just said that taking you away from your circle would be bad.
No,
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
That's cool.
Okay, so my next question is to you, Hammond. On the Black Star ship, you did some jewelry rigging of it, and to actually electrify it.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're going to reverse back or just leave on the ship? And do you want it transferring to your current ship? So just to let you know,
you have no idea what he's talking
pretty
about.
lazy.
Yeah, honestly, I think Cameron just forgot.
I don't recall that.
So I was trying to think about a way to mirror this in future adventures. And what I thought is that you can jury rig your ship as much as you want, but every time you try to redo something, and it's jury rigging is almost like a quick fix, you know, it's quickly doing something. Every time it almost like that percentage rises, and then at any point,
really mess things up.
I could, which I really like as a GM, you know, you sort of like, you press the jump drive button and I say, yeah, okay, then just roll the amount of gear that is jury rigged, that say it's 30%, and you roll 25%, and the ship just goes and you know, stops, you know. But if you rolled higher, then you're away. So it depends whether or not you want to swap it over or not.
I can imagine Hammond with a drill going to the hull and going, every day I'm going to drill just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more.
Hammond.
If I have time, I'll fix what I did to the ship.
So what? What I'm more, do you want to transfer it to to your new ship or
Oh.
not?
Not right now.
Okay. Then.
Because we're
fair,
not
yeah.
being docked.
Yeah, that was a means to an end, wasn't it? That was for one
Yeah, that
particular
was
situation.
just so the last thing didn't happen again where we are
Mm.
getting.
Okay.
pranked
We
by
might even be able to
pirates.
get like that kind of security onto a new ship, like from them. We
Yeah.
might not
Yeah.
even have to jury rig it.
Okay, so that's a really really valid point. And what I see happening here is almost like on the downtime between M Space Adventures and next M Space Adventures, when there's things that you can or you would like to do, then you have time then. So not necessarily between this adventure and the next one, but more, you know, when we move on to Mithras after the next M Space adventure, you then got time to do things with ships or money, etc., etc.
Or robots.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you
Or
can
demolitions.
Danger,
yeah.
danger.
So robots themselves, okay, robots are actually made up as, it depends how techy you want to get. So the limiting factor is always the tech level of the world, you know, what the tech level is. And then for all crafting skills, you have a crafting skill and a knowledge skill. So your knowledge skill is a limiter of your crafting skill. But what happens is when you take a crafting skill, and I'm being very kind here, when you take a crafting skill, you automatically have the knowledge skill at the same level. Okay, or say half the level or something like that. Depends what makes sense for it. So rather than using 5 experience rolls to gain a new skill and then having to use another 5 to get the knowledge, it's assumed, I feel it's reasonable to think that if you're crafting something, you probably have a knowledge of it in any case. And it might be that your knowledge is sort of like 1/4 higher or something like that. But what it would mean is that if you have a crafting skill of 90 and a knowledge of robotics of 20, you're not going to be your roles are always going to be limited by your knowledge rather than the thing. So that's the other limited thing about crafting. Big robots like Purdy are actually made up as characters. So they actually have all the abilities, etc., of a character, and that's why Purdy gets experience rolls at the end. So it might be that eventually we don't want a Hammond army. Okay, I don't want like 50 robots, you know, running around.
Could I have one really cool, powerful robot?
Well, it depends what you mean by powerful.
His name's Newman.
You know, just
his name's what?
Just like a Newman, but like, you know, who's blaster proof, whatever.
Okay.
I want lots of robots running going, Roger, 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 Roger.
Yeah.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger. I would never want a robot to outdo a character, a real life character. So for example, when Tex joined us, if he really wanted to be the medic, then I would remove Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't want it to get to a say that you have to break out of a place, which is Newman's sort of like opportunity to shine, and we all just sit there and say, "We'll send the robot." you know, because I feel that what happens then, it's just sort of like, oh, it defeats a character as well. There are so robots are like that. You then get drones and smaller robots. So for example, you can have robots are just like seeker robots, or robots that are a lot smaller but tend to have a single purpose, and but they have better AI attached to them. And then of course you have drones as well. Okay, so that gives me enough information to lead into the next adventure. But you do have, because this has been 5 parts, And really and truly, this fifth part is not really a big part, but I think you've definitely worked for it, and there's been a lot of investigation, etc., and puzzling things out. So I am going to give you 2 for each. Does anybody have an experience bonus?
You mean a fumble?
I failed.
No,
Twice.
on your character sheet. As near your luck. You know, like
No.
Hengist had a
Oh.
-1.
Oh,
Does anybody have a
Ex-
-1 or positive one?
No.
I got a positive 1.
Zero.
I've got 1.
it says experience modifier 1.
I'm going to put a 0 in behind that 1.
Let's
Yeah.
let's have. I'm just coming. Oh, what, your character sheet looks weird, Hammond.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
can't
It's
even.
just what's going to happen to the girl?
Oh, good question. When I open your character sheets, I can't see any of your character sheets at all.
Oh,
Can you see yours as normal?
Yeah.
yeah. It's like dark, but yeah.
Right,
It's when we redid
Are
it.
you looking at the character sheet tab, or sometimes it loads on bio and info and it doesn't? I'm like,
I'm literally just getting character sheet, bio information, attributes, and abilities up at the top in like
Yeah.
hyperlinks, and then notes and etc. Let's see if I can go in it with a shift click. No, can I go out in the shift click? Control L. No, it's probably me that needs to. What you're sharing there?
I don't know. I accidentally clicked a button.
Oh, that's the wiki for the Roll20 sheets that you sent.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah. What was that? Yeah, girl. Okay, then. So obviously the girl's an orphan, Minsk. So what would you like to happen to the girl? Let's put the
Well,
ball back in your court.
Initially, I was thinking about asking the Sons of the Black Star to look after her. But just after what Io's just told me, I do believe that
I would
that
be
wrong.
strongly against that.
Yeah, I'm already against it. The thing about Minsk is he's very protective. He sees himself as like a father figure to kids and things like that. That's why he was really pissed when Brock killed this girl's mother.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
So
she could have recovered.
so
Yeah, I'd probably ask Beck what he was planning to do with the girl. If there's anywhere that's safe that she could go to.
Yeah.
okay. Then. So you do have various options, Minsk. So they can either find her like foster parents. So she lives with her family, or there are institutions, probably a very nasty word, but they're well known because space is a very turmoil place. So, and a lot of the time, both parents might actually be in space piloting or whatever. So there are sort of like institutions like boarding schools when they go to that school and they live on site, etc., etc.
Just out of interest, is there a way to find out where her father is?
She doesn't. Sue Parrish's husband died a while back, so she doesn't actually. She did have a father, if that makes sense, but he's still not around. So she is technically, at the moment, an orphan.
Could she join the project as justice for her mom?
I think what would happen is that she would probably, if Project Nemesis will probably put her somewhere that they can keep an eye on her, if that's what is the best way to do it. They could probably give you, Minsk, an address and a com link to it, so you can actually stay in touch with her. the other thing I will say at that point is just remember what a devious mind I have. If that makes sense. You're quite welcome to keep in touch with her, Minsk.
I would, yeah.
That gives me a lovely story arc because she might get kidnapped. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
so probably
I'd want to stay in contact in case she did get kidnapped.
Yeah.
Or she got hurt, or somebody tried to kill her, or if
bullied at school.
Associates think she's got information and comes back after her.
Nice. So they'll put her up into some kind of boarding school and taking on, I think it was Io or whoever said it, the idea that eventually she might be trained to become part of Project Nemesis, a bit like Melanie was trained in Mithras to come back and
yeah,
that sort of thing. So yeah, good point. So that's all dealt with. So you have 10 experience rolls. So remember that the first thing, that if you had any fumbles at all, then you can that will just be an automatic 1 pointer. So at the start of the next adventure, we'll finish this one earlier so people have an opportunity to actually think what they would like to do with their experience rolls. And we'll start the next adventure doing experience rolls and then going on to your next adventure, whatever that might be. So just to remind you, you can use your experience points to improve any skill that you've got already. And what you would do, you will roll a D100, add your intelligence, and if you get the same at the skill or higher, it will increase by 1d4 plus 1. If you get less than your skill, then it will increase by plus 1. You can, of course, also use your rolls to gain new skills. And I was just trying to find in the, I think it's just like the same as Mithras. Has anybody already learned a new skill?
No, I haven't.
Not in M space.
Well, we all got wealth, didn't we? Which is a new skill.
But had one that they wanted to, a new skill that they wanted to learn. It's in Mithras. It's 5 skill rolls, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's either that or 3, but
that's just telling me. I'll check it out. I have the feeling that it's exactly the same, but it might not be. But I can pop that into the chat. It might be that you still got some character roles that you want to improve. I'm just looking at it, and the numbers are sitting a set of roles. It is recommend any skill or on the character sheet, standard or professional, can be increased. Well, we know that, but it doesn't talk about learning new skills. So I think what we'll probably do is revert back to the Mithras. I don't think we want to be in a situation that we can't learn new skills, because I think that's incredibly limiting. And then that's it. Did I give you, Mince, can you roll a 1d4 and add 1 onto it, please? Okay, so you have, from that last adventure, you got 3 wealth points. Okay, Now,
Yeah.
you currently there are two separate sort of like wealth points that you have. You have your own wealth points, but you also can have a party wealth point, wealth skill. So that is a skill that anybody can tap into. That skill increases by you adding points to it. So if you got 50 wealth, you can add 20 skill points to the party wealth. And so you will end up with 30 wealth, but the party would have 20 wealth. So those 3 wealth points can either be added to the party one, okay, or can be shared out among you. So I'm not going to query that you've got 3 point or 1 point so. I'll just say that you've got 1 point of wealth each from that encounter. That was fixed. Remember, in the future means you can actually negotiate and use your negotiation to actually increase those skills.
Is negotiation an actual skill, or
is it not?
I've
Or is
got
it
some-
influence?
I've
Oh
got
no,
influence.
influence. Yeah, sorry.
Right, sorry, there we go.
Yeah, yeah, it's not an actual skill. I was thinking of
Diplomacy.
no, Shadowrun has negotiation.
Oh,
I'm just
Right, well,
yeah, go for it.
you guys take a point of wealth each. I've got 41 wealth as standard at the moment. I don't know what you guys have, but you have it. 1 each.
okay.
And I will. I can't believe that there's not a system to actually increase new skills. Surely.
There's the improve button. When you hit the cog on a skill, there's a button underneath it that says improve.
Yeah, so that will automatically roll a percentile dice, add your intelligence to it, and give you. But I was just looking at the rules about to see whether or not there's anything that, to gain a new skill, it's so and so, whatever. But
Gotcha.
I still can't find it, but I can't.
Well,
yeah, go for it.
To add a point to the new to a skill, just click on the box and just put an extra point.
Well, there's that too, but he's looking for buying a new skill rather than I got confused.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah, so there should be like in Mithras, you spend points and gain a new skill or new spell or anything like that. I presume there must be a system in M Space to actually do that. But if
maybe
not,
it's exactly the same.
yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It doesn't mention anything in the improvement section, but I can't see them saying, no, you can never learn new skills, because that would seem absolutely stupid. So, but if I don't find it, I will just implement it the same as Mithras. It seems absolutely fine to do that, and that's totally acceptable to me. I'm just interested what it actually says. So remember, if you do get a new skill, the first thing you will get it at the there'll be 2 attributes that add together to get your starting amount. So, for example, gunnery, it's dexterity and power, I think. So that'll give you your starting point. So it starts a little bit higher than 1 every time. Okay. Anybody have any questions about all that information that I've just regurgitated to you?
Nope.
No. Brilliant.
Oh.
Let me just. Yeah. Sorry.
Although these swimming pools on the ship.
What swimming pool?
To practice our swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
It's- it's-
fuel.
Could we use that to?
That's that's your fuel. Just don't light.
Very lightweight.
But hang on, if it's a fuel, why is there a deck chair there?
I think that's the
That's
steps. I think that's the scoop.
yeah, that's the fuel scoop for our hydrogen fuel.
So you
You
scoop
read
it into
cold
it.
swim.
Yeah, no, I can't. Right.
Also, isn't it dangerous to have the exterior of the ship essentially be where the
Fuel?
fuel is?
I
Very
think
Yeah.
I think it has to go somewhere. So
Yeah,
it's
but
actually stored in. So these are just sort of like gaps, but the good idea is that grey wall is like hull. So you've got the outside hull,
But
and then you've got the inside hull as well. Yeah, go for it.
Cap, what you just said there was, it might have been bad on there. Where do planes keep their fuel?
they keep in the wings.
Mm-hmm.
Those things
They do?
designed to keep you up.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that
It-
seems silly.
And that's why I will not fly. I mean,
But-
I'm sorry.
But at the same time, like it keeps the people that are inside the fuse, like inside the cabin, more safe because the wings will just blow up and fall off.
Which is fine. At least they'll
But it
Yeah.
won't blow up the people inside.
no. So they get to enjoy that lovely, really fast start like
Yeah,
Like,
falling
oh, that
out
wasn't
and
that
everybody get your
explosion.
parachutes.
This death's
and-
gonna be fun.
They're plummet
But-
to their
but-
death.
But if they put their head between the knees and brace, they'll be fine.
In
Brace
fact,
for
yeah.
impact. I need to get
Oh,
that in.
Science does say that makes you.
Matt in the chat says good evening, and he's just got back from watching the new Indiana Jones movie.
I'm
I
sorry.
feel your pain.
Have you all seen it or not?
No,
Yeah.
but I've heard
No.
really bad things about it.
I stopped after I watched the Crystal Skull, and then wanted to bash my head in with a crystal skull.
that one wasn't that good. See, but I didn't like the Temple of Doom. I didn't like that
Oh.
one
Really?
at all. Yeah.
That's really good.
That one's my least favorite of the original three.
I like the third one. First and third.
First, is the third one with Sean Connery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We named the dog Indiana.
I like
The
Junior.
floor's on fire and the chair.
yeah. Oh, that is so funny. That bit when when she comes over and talks to them both, and she sort of says, "You were wonderful," and they both say, "Thank you." That is a good one, and there's lots of really funny moments in that. But my favorite one has to be the first one.
Oh yeah.
Indiana was a dog's day.
Epic, and I see it's with Star Wars. A New Hope has to be my favorite one. I do like Escape. You know
Empire's the best one.
Empire Strikes Back. Is that the one with Hoth?
Yeah.
I do love that initial scene. Hence, you can't see it, but you could probably see my poster up there. I just love that first
What's
section.
that saying? Hoth. They should have called it Kolth.
Yeah, I do. And is that the one when he says, "You'll die before you get to the second marker," and Harrison Ford says, "Then I'll see you in hell."
Yeah.
Goes on.
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he slices, doesn't it? And all the entrails of falls out. Yeah, that is a good one.
But to be fair, everybody does remember it for Luke kissing his sister.
Do you know? I never thought about that.
And not in a sister way.
It's when I watched It's when I watched Pitch Perfect, and they were talking about Darth Vader, and the girl says, "You do realize that Vader is German for father." And I just thought, what? Did I really miss that clue right the way through? It was okay, but I was hoping for more temple raiding and puzzle solving. A bit too much generic action movie for Matt. So
And CGI fest, sadly.
there's no more after this one, isn't there?
No, he's retired from it,
Yeah.
allegedly.
But there is a new Mission Impossible, isn't there?
Very good.
Is it really good, the Mission Impossible one? Because it's part one, isn't it?
I stopped
think
watching
all-
after 3.
Really, I think they're all brilliant. I love them.
I think is it Sean Penn?
No, sure. Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. Yeah, I like it when he comes into it. I like his character. You know, I don't like the one when they're in Saudi Arabia on that big building.
Why?
Oh, Abu Dhabi.
And
where-
Ghost
where-
Protocol?
Yeah.
yeah, Ghost Protocol.
Because I don't like heights, and it really puts my anxiety on edge when they keep looking down. Oh yeah, the young
That's how good that film
Indiana
is.
CGI felt wrong.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah.
no. Is it like a baby or something?
No,
They
they
de-aged him.
just
Yeah.
de-aged it.
They do it really well in sort of like X-Men Last Stand shit film.
But
But
wasn't
the
there?
DA's Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart really well, but they can't seem to do it now. I don't know.
Wasn't there a young Indiana in one of the films in any case?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah.
Third one.
Yeah.
That's
And
why he
it-
got this star on his chin.
Yeah, because he
There's
cracks
also
his
a
whip.
series.
Yeah.
There was also a series of Young Indiana Jones shows that were actually pretty
Yeah.
good.
There
Yeah.
was, yeah. And because there was one Young Sherlock's as well that I liked. Was a
And
relief when they went back to current day Harrison Ford, yeah. How old is Harrison Ford now?
This is 80s.
Yeah.
No
But he's-
way.
Well, he's playing the new Red Hulk, isn't he? He's Captain
In the
Ross.
third one, Sean Connery was only like 13 years older than him in real life.
Yeah, he's 81.
It's true.
Good grief.
Yeah.
I think you should put all these films, Mr. Pickles, on your podcast. So we,
All the big popular movies.
The
yeah,
big popular movies that everyone's talked about for many, many years.
81 years old. Brilliant. Okay, people, let's draw it to a close there. Let's give announcements first. Medi, they call you Medi, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than
Yeah.
Medivac. I feel that it's a bit like the saying pick rather than pickles.
Mr. Pick.
Yeah. Yes, Medivac. Tell us what.
Hopefully, we'll be doing Trailer Cthulhu on this Monday. We've missed 2 weeks due to work commitments. Apologies. That'll be at 7:30 Monday. Hopefully,
Do you know how much longer that's got to?
till we find out what's going on.
Could be some
But it's
time
really,
then.
it's really good though.
It is. I
we-
enjoy
we-
it. I have it
we-
on
we-
in the background.
Lots of
we-
demolitions.
We're going back to LA. Yeah, we sank a boat.
And then
On
on
Thursdays, we have Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, where we are on. Well, we just got off about. We just dug up some big standing stones and found some golden talks. I'm sure that'll end well.
yeah. Matt in the chat said, Medi, Pick, Kang, and Tig.
People do call me Tig.
Was it 9 Acre Woods? Oh,
Yeah.
100 Acre Woods. Sorry.
And notice he didn't. Matt didn't even put me in that. I'm not even in that sort of like group.
Well, it did. It probably said in.
In yeah.
and-
But if you put in the front, it just sounds like some like bad sexual thing. Like
In.
the in the in Medi.
Mr. Pickles, tell us where we
Yeah.
can find you.
You can find me on Apple and Spotify podcasts with And I Took That Personally. My friend Brad and I, we talk about movies. The most recent episode was Dave Made a Maze. Our episodes have been a little bit slow recently because we've both been really busy, but we're hoping to pick up and get back to our schedule of about once a month.
Yeah.
And I took that personally.
Tex, do you have any streaming coming up?
I thought about streaming some Minecraft today or tonight.
Nice.
There's a new pack out called All the Mods Volcano Block, where you are the floor is literally lava.
Oh,
You're on an island with nothing but a tree and a piece of dirt, and the rest is lava.
that's not for me.
It's got mystical agriculture in it. but,
Brilliant. So
yeah, it's a challenge pack, so I might do that.
So your is it
Tickety Tex is Twitch TV/Tickety Tex.
I'll stick it in the chat. And I'm not going to ask you, Captain, because you always wind me up about something, and I'm sat here thinking
This year, this week's a little different. This week, I'll be live streaming from the hospital tomorrow.
I'm not.
Because of
I just.
dialysis.
I'm just
And
not.
I'll be live critiquing all of the soap operas on TV.
But you will have lots of flowers and things around your neck, won't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Probably no
grapes.
pads.
Beads, lots of
Beads.
beads,
Beads, lots of beads.
fake plastic beads, different
Depends if I
colors.
show one or both nipples.
And you can find, I'm going to try to, you can find all of Captain's content on his OnlyFans page. And
Yes.
we'll leave it there.
But it's called Captain Kangaroo's Pocket.
Max said surgery reaction streams. You just watch surgery. Oh, that must hurt. Excellent. Thank you for coming along and joining us, everybody. Sorry for a slightly shorter episode, 9 minutes shorter. We got a lot of tidying up to do on that one. So that's all done and dusted. So do come back next time we play, when we'll sort out experience roles, increasing skills, etc. And then we'll hop on straight to the next adventure. And if you've been watching my GM prep videos on YouTube on a Sunday night, then you'll have a bit of an insight what I've got in store for the party. So party never watched those videos at all. Yeah, until then, I will be back tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with some Minecraft, and then tomorrow afternoon, starting at 1 o'clock with some Elder Scrolls Online. We'll try to finish off the Arcanist story. I've still got to find another companion, and then
Do you have the Argonian?
I don't have the I've got to find the Argonian. I've got Azander at the moment, which I really like.
I found him outside the main town.
Don't tell me.
Oh, sorry. Well, that's a big area, so you never know.
So I'm just going through the quest at the moment. So we'll be doing some of that tomorrow afternoon. Okay, we'll see you all next time we play. So stay safe and healthy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. So I'll say goodbye, and they can all say goodbye as now. Go for it.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Now I have to put
Bye, farewell,
that's going to be on the video now. You do realize that's going to be on the YouTube video.